A big build-up not only to the royal wedding, but to today's scheduled launch of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. It would be the second to the last launch, and we found out around midday that that launch had to be scrubbed.
A bit disappointing for some. News Channel 5's Jay Kashmir is at the Kennedy Space Center tonight. Jay, what happened?
Well, Kelly and Shannon, ultimately it was a faulty fuel line that caused Shuttle Endeavour to stay at its home base here. You can see Shuttle Endeavour on launch pad 39A right behind me. A very disappointing day here at Kennedy Space Center, but nonetheless, better to be safe than sorry. Now, the launch scrubbed about 3 hours prior to its scheduled launch today at 3:47. The crew was actually en route to the launch pad. They made it to the big assembly plant and quickly were diverted. At that point, all the media knew something was wrong. They changed their course and reversed, and quickly soon thereafter, NASA scrubbed this launch. We are awaiting a NASA press conference to find out more information on exactly what happened, although the official ruling here, a failure of a heater in a fuel line, and that ultimately forced NASA to scrub this launch. Again, NASA with more details coming in the next few minutes at this press conference, but until we get that, we do know that we've got about a 72-hour window until Monday at 2:33. That's the next launch opportunity that we're told NASA will try. If they can't get up, they have until May 4th. After that, they have May 8th. And then, of course, we'll see what happens. But this was an absolutely huge day. When you think about the momentum of this huge space shuttle program, this was the second to last flight. You had hundreds of thousands of people here. President Obama was here. He flew in for a short time here with the first family. They got on board Marine One, and they took a tour of the facility, eventually landing and then departing. You also had Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords. We all know January 8th, the tragedy in Tucson that captivated this nation. She took a major step in her recovery, being here today at the Cape to support her husband, Commander Mark Kelly, who was set to launch here to guide the spacecraft. It is unclear right now whether Gabrielle Giffords will stay for the next launch, the next proposed launch on Monday or not. We're still waiting to get word on that end. Nonetheless, 45,000 people were here inside Cape Canaveral today at Kennedy Space Center. Another 700,000 people from across the country were outside the Cape. Our News Channel 5's Carolyn Schofield joins us now live with that end of the story. And I know, Carolyn, better to be safe than sorry, but certainly a lot of disappointment out here.
Jay, NASA expected a crowd of up to 700,000 people to watch liftoff from around the Space Center. A lot of people arrived early, claiming their parking spots as early as yesterday. But now, at this point, there's only a few people left out here. Without access to televisions and possibly Twitter, news of the scrubbed launch spread slowly through the crowds. In fact, we had to break the bad news to quite a few people that were out here still hoping to see the launch today. Now, people came from around the world to see Space Shuttle Endeavour make her final journey. Mary Trumpy brought her family from North Palm Beach, and even though she'd made the long drive just to see a scrub, she is planning to come back.
How many launches would you say you've seen over the years?
I've probably been to 5 liftoffs, and I saw this Columbia disintegrate from my office in Lake Park years ago. So, yeah, saw the best and the saddest.
And Trumpy told us that she is planning to come back. In fact, she's hoping that the crowds won't be quite so large when they do reschedule the launch of Space Shuttle Endeavour. And this is supposed to be one of the best vantage points right here on the beach line, the 528 Causeway. Now, coming up at 6, you'll hear from some other people who cannot wait for the rescheduled launch. And unfortunately, they'll have to go home without seeing Space Shuttle Endeavour one last time. Reporting live at Port Canaveral, Carolyn Schofield, WPTV News Channel 5. Jay, back to you.
Carolyn Schofield outside the Cape. Carolyn, thank you very much. Certainly a lot of disappointment today, but again, the big sentiment here, though, it's better to be safe than sorry. Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords, again, she was at a private location here on the Cape with a nurse, her mother, and several staffers. We know she was here at the Cape, ready to watch this liftoff, and when it was aborted earlier, she tweeted earlier from her staffers saying, bummed about the scrub, but important to make sure everything on shuttle is working properly, and I think that echoes what a lot of people were thinking. They had a large number of people, as we've been saying here today, more than most. They had the most number of media requests for a launch almost ever. It set a record, and certainly the media, that we were scrambling trying to find out what happened as soon as that launch was scrubbed about 3 hours prior to liftoff. Following that, then you had the president. It was unsure whether President Obama would even make it here today. He did, again, land here at Cape Canaveral. They boarded Marine One and took a tour of the facility, the first family in tow as well, and then they quickly departed. A lot of security on base here today. But a very, very big day. Of course, the stage is set for Endeavour's launch, proposed right now 2:33 on Monday afternoon, and we'll see what happens with a NASA press conference set to come any moment now. Any new updates, we'll certainly keep you posted both here online, here in person and online on WPTV.com. That's it from the Cape. I'm Jay Cashmere, WPTV News Channel 5.